Despicable and mighty proud of it. Despicable Me begins with the truth that villains are often more fascinating than heroes and creates a villain named Jiayu, who freeze-dries the people ahead of him in line at Starbucks and pops children's balloons. Although he's inspired by many a James Bond bad guy, two things set him. His vast mad scientist lair is located not in the desert or on the moon, but in the basement of his suburban home, and he dreams not of world control so much as merely dominating the cable news ratings as the greatest villain of all time. Despicable Me is a 2010 American computer-animated comedy film produced by Illumination Entertainment, in its debut film and distributed by Universal Pictures. Directed by Renaud and Pierre Coffin, in their directorial debuts from a screenplay by Cinco and Daurio based on a story by Sergio Pablos, the film stars the voices of Steve Carell, Jason Segel, Russell Brand, Miranda Cosgrove, Kristen Wiig, Arnett, and Julie Andrews. The film tells the story of a supervillain named Jiayu, who adopts a trio of orphan girls named Margot, Edith, and Agnes and attempts to steal a shrink ray from his rival Vector in order to shrink and steal the moon. Despicable Me debuted at the Moscow International Film Festival on June 19, 2010, and was released in the United States on July 9. The film received positive reviews and earned $543.1 million worldwide, becoming the 9th highest-grossing film of 2010. It was nominated for Best Animated Feature Film at the Golden Globe Awards, BAFTA Awards, and Annie Awards. Despicable Me is the first entry in what would become the franchise of the same name, which includes 3 more films: Despicable Me 2, 2013, Minions, 2015, and Despicable Me 3, 2017. Minions: The Rise of Jiayu is scheduled for release in 2022. Now I'm explaining movie plot. Longtime supervillain Felonious Jiayu has his pride hurt when an anonymous rival steals the Great Pyramid of Giza and replaces it with an inflatable replica. In retaliation, he, his elderly assistant Dr. Nefario, and his army of minions concoct a plan to steal the Earth's moon. Dr. Nefario worries that the plan will be too expensive, so Jiayu applies for a loan from Mr. Perkins, the director of the Bank of Evil, who orders Jiayu to steal a shrink ray first. While at the bank, Jiayu meets young supervillain Vector and learns that he is the mastermind behind the pyramid heist. Jiayu and his minions successfully steal the shrink ray from a research base, only for Vector to intercept them and steal it for himself. After trying and failing to steal back the shrink ray from Vector's fortress, Jiayu notices 3 orphan girls Margot, Edith, and Agnes being allowed into their fortress to sell Vector cookies. Jiayu disguises himself as a dentist and adopts the girls, planning to use them in his plot to reclaim the shrink ray and return them once the scheme is over. Jiayu's initial attempts at parenting are disastrous, and things are further complicated by their ballet practices, the girls discovering his underground lair, and Dr. Nefario's skepticism to his plan. Jiayu eventually manages to use the girls to distract Vector long enough for him to get the shrink ray back, but the girls insist upon stopping at an amusement park on the way home. Jiayu plans to abandon them there, but finds himself enjoying his time with the girls, and they begin to bond. At home, Jiayu shows Mr. Perkins, via video call, that he has the shrink ray, though the girls repeatedly interrupt the call. Mr. Perkins still claims he is not impressed, and refuses the loan. Seeing Jiayu sad that he would not be able to steal the moon, the girls give him their piggy bank. Inspired, the minions pool all their resources, and Jiayu begins to sell his belongings to raise the money needed for the project. Dr. Nefario calculates that they will have to go for the moon when its orbit brings it closest to Earth, but the day is the same as the girls' ballet recital. Believing Jiayu is too distracted, he calls Miss Hattie himself and tells her to take the girls back. Meanwhile, Mr. Perkins informs Vector, revealed to be his son, of Jiayu's possession of the shrink ray, prompting Vector to take action. Jiayu successfully shrinks and steals the moon. He tries to make it home in time for the ballet recital, only to find out Vector has kidnapped the girls. Hurrying to the fortress, Jiayu gives Vector the moon, but Vector refuses to hand over the girls. Jiayu fights his way through Vector's defenses, causing him to flee, with the girls and the moon, in his aircraft. Meanwhile, Dr. Nefario and the minions discover that the effects of the shrink ray are only temporary. The larger the object, the faster it returns to normal size. They and Jiayu perform a daring mid-air rescue of the girls before the moon returns to its normal size and launches itself into orbit, stranding Vector on it. Sometime later, Jiayu reads the girls a bedtime story he wrote based on his experiences, and they confess love for one another. The girls perform a special ballet recital for Jiayu, his mother, Dr. Nefario, and the minions. One minion decides to change the song to something more dance party style, starting a rave. Now talking about deep analyses, Despicable Me lacks a franchise to ride into town on, but it may establish one. I'm not sure how Jiayu can think up anything more sensational than stealing the moon, but I'm sure Dr. Nefario is working on that as we speak. The film is funny, energetic, teeth-gnashingly venomous and animated with an eye to exploiting the 3D process with such surefire techniques as a visit to an amusement park. The sad thing, I am forced to report, is that the 3D process produces a picture dimmer than it should be. Despicable Me is technically competent and nowhere near the visual disaster that is The Last Airbender, but take my word for it, try to find it in 2D. Or, if you see it in 3D, check out the trailers online to see how bright and cheery it would look in 2D. How can people deceive themselves that 3D is worth paying extra for?